Good afternoon. My name is Nathan Mockrath. I'm the registered dietitian you'll be seeing. And your name is Allison. Do you prefer Allison?
Allison's good.
Would you be okay if I took notes?
Sure.
Now, I see your doctor referred you over to see us. Can you talk to me about why you're here today?
Well, I went to see him and my A1C was a little elevated and he's wanted me to lose some weight. And it's hard to do that with 3 kids,
Okay.
with a lot of activities. I've got a 4, 6, and 8-year-old. They're in soccer, basketball, dance. So it's a pretty fast schedule. Plus I work part-time as a nurse. And the schedules starts early in the morning. As soon as they're out of school, we go to an activity. When we get out of the activity, we'll go eat ice cream, or we'll go to Pizza Hut, or we'll go to McDonald's, and it's hard to eat good there.
Okay. So walk me through your typical, so I'm guessing that's after games and stuff when you're with your kids. Walk me through what you eat and throughout the day.
Like in the morning.
Mhm.
Oh, in the morning when I'm trying to fix them things to eat for breakfast, I'll eat a piece of toast and maybe a banana, but then I drink a cup of cappuccino.
If you don't mind me asking, is the cappuccino powder based? Is
It's
it
powder
just flavored? Okay.
based. And then if there's cookies, which we're not supposed to have all that stuff in the house, but with kids, they always want it, like cupcakes and blueberry muffins and donuts and cookies. And so I'll grab a couple of those every time I go in the kitchen almost.
Okay. Is that like a snack or?
Yeah. If I get hungry or want something sweet, I'll grab something they've had.
Could you walk me through your lunch? Me too.
Lunch, I'll go to Pizza Hut and get a pizza, like a deep dish.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll bring it home and the rest of it, and then I eat it for breakfast.
Okay. So you eat it for breakfast the next day?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you don't eat the whole thing at once?
No.
Okay.
I used to try.
Used to try. How about dinner?
Well, with the kids, if we can get everybody rounded around the table, we'll have, we may have pizza again, or we may have fried chicken, or I don't know, we'll eat Mexican food. They like little burritos and
Okay.
cheese dip, and then after the games and stuff, we go eat ice cream sometimes.
Okay, I mentioned ice cream. So it sounds like it is difficult to find time for you in terms of maybe making separate meals or separate dishes, more health oriented, because you feel a lot of pressure from the kids.
Right.
Normally after a game, do they just say, "Hey, I want this," or "Hey, I want that"?
A lot of times. Or they'll say, I'm hungry. I say, where do you want to go? So we want something quick and fast. Dairy Queen,
Definitely.
McDonald's, just to get in and get out and get home.
If you don't mind me backtracking just a little bit, what is the main goal? Is it weight loss or is it managing diabetes? What have you been told?
Need to lose some weight. And I said something about 30 pounds, and they said that was a good goal. But then someone said it wasn't. That's too much. My goal is too high. They said you need to go about half that.
The goal seems like, if you don't mind me saying, or can I say, the goal is good, like in terms of you want to lose weight, but it seems like it could be used in terms of to narrow it down a little bit, because 30 pounds is a lot of weight to lose at once and over 2 months. We usually recommend 1 to 2 pounds a week, as I mentioned earlier. And that's usually 4 to 8 pounds a month max. Anything over that usually is due to diet crashes and you can't maintain it. Your body's under a lot of stress and you have cravings. So
I get into the cravings.
yeah, the cravings. And we all do when we're stressed or when we're dealing with a lot of things at once, like when you have 3 kids. So what we can do is, or what I would like to do, if it's okay with you, is to practice on focusing on what we can control and what thing is we seem like we already know the places we go to.
Right.
So can we work on finding some healthier options at these places we go to, like Tex-Mex or Pizza Hut, or now it does sound like you did a really good or a really good idea about not eating the whole deep dish, but
Right.
eating and taking part of it for breakfast the next day, which is perfectly. And we also can take even a smaller portion and freeze it or refrigerate it even for the next day.
It took me a long time to do that.
Well, it sounds like you've sort of picked up on that and know what to do
A
with
little
it.
bit, yeah.
So, how does it sound to you if we focus on weight loss? And do you know that weight loss will actually help you with your A1C?
Will it?
And have you had any A1C counseling or diabetes counseling?
No.
So, do you know what happens when your A1C is elevated and the risk associated with it?
All I know is diabetes could really cause some issues.
Okay. It can cause issues like hypertension, atherosclerosis, which basically just means it damages the arteries. And that leads to heart complications known as cardiovascular disease. And that can be heart attack, stroke, anything basically dealing with blood flow. So what we would like to do is minimize that the best we can. And one way we can do that is by diet and nutrition, and losing 5 to 10 pounds, even over that course of that 1 month. I said 5 to 8 is in that range, can greatly reduce your A1C, or enough to where we can actually look at your lab values and see markers.
Would it make that big a difference in just one
Yes,
month?
it would. In terms of prevention of getting, or at least in terms of not getting worse, but sort of halting where it's at and then regressing it, we're no longer pre-diabetic. Do you have a history of diabetes in your family?
Yes. Yes.
And what are you worried about your kids, maybe, and how when they may,
Well, I've just
Good.
never really thought about it, to be honest.
because there is a genetic component that does go with. Can I ask you about when they were when you gave birth to them because they're still young? Were you overweight then, or were you?
I gained about 30 pounds.
But before you had the kids, were you overweight?
No, matter of fact, I'd been on a diet and had lost 20 pounds.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so afterwards, after you did give birth, that's when you started gaining weight.
Yes.
Okay. But initially, it sounded like you actually lost pounds at first,
Right.
like first 2 trimesters of the pregnancy.
Well, it was before I found out I was pregnant. When I found out I was pregnant, I was 4 months pregnant.
Okay, that's okay. Sometimes shocks, shocks us all. So what we can do, if this is okay, is, as I said, focus on eating some healthier alternatives. What do you drink when you go out? Do you drink sweet tea? Do you
Sweet
drink-
tea. I try not to,
Okay.
but it's so good. And that's
Okay.
altered my sweet tooth. I
Okay.
don't eat like dessert as much if I have that sweet tea.
So I take it cutting out sweets or reducing sweets will probably just increase your cravings. Is that, since you crave sweet things, is that what
Yeah,
you,
I like sweets.
have you tried
But-
cutting out sweets before and like reducing them?
Yeah, I have. And it worked good. I had, like peanut butter and celery, or that curbed it, it seemed like, or
Okay.
just something. Pretzels and peanut butter. I mean, it wasn't a chocolate candy bar or a chocolate pie
Right.
and my mother and I would go out and eat chocolate pie and coconut pie because she was little.
I would like to assess where you're at in terms of motivation. When I asked you about your kids earlier, are you concerned that they may develop prediabetes and complications from that, or in terms
Well,
of
I
being
didn't really
overweight?
think about it because they were small. I mean, they're young, and I didn't
they're
even think.
active.
And they're active.
How active are you? If you don't mind
Not
asking?
very,
Not very.
except taking them back and forth in the car.
Okay.
I don't have time to go to the gym. Don't have time for myself.
So, what do you think that we can do after what we've discussed to help you get to your goal of, let's refine the goal to 1-2 pounds a week. for weight loss, but what do you think we can do?
I probably need to write down what I eat every day.
Okay, like tracking it?
Tracking it, yes. And
Okay.
set a goal, at least half that instead of 30 pounds, maybe, or 5 pounds a week, or just
Okay.
something.
Now, I do want to reiterate, even 5 pounds a week is a
It's a
little
lot. Okay.
And the reason we don't want to do that is because of health issues and stuff down the
Yeah.
road, because we don't want you
It's
to be
just,
too much and then regain all the weight back.
doesn't seem like you'd have to cut out much for 1 or 2 pounds, would you?
Well, 1 pound's about 500 calories a day, a deficit, which is 3,500 calories a week. And sometimes that can add up in terms of
And that's a good thing to write down the calories
calories.
of things.
Okay. You can track calories, but honestly, right now, I don't want you to bite off a whole lot.
Okay.
So I'd like to focus on some small things.
Okay.
Let's see how you're doing with that, and then we can add things if that's something you want to do. A lot of people find tracking calories to be monotonous and tedious, and sometimes they get
They give up.
overwhelmed and they just give up.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't want for you.
Well, when the kids eat cookies and ice cream and all that, then I need to eat peanut butter and
Okay.
celery, or
Do you
maybe.
think we can do maybe a tablespoon of peanut butter and maybe 10 pretzels?
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be good.
Okay. And
I
then
just like that crunch.
so you prefer texture of crunch.
Mhm.
Crunch. Okay. That's good to know. So we maybe do when they have the sweets, you can do peanut butter and celery, but it is hard to look at them eating that and go, oh.
Yeah, no, it
So
is.
could we find some sweet things that you would maybe snack like a protein bar or something that's healthier that's
Yeah,
sweet?
yeah, that would be good. Some I've tried have not been very good.
Okay. Which brands have you tried?
Atkins, maybe. There were some at Sam's. I don't know. It was maybe Members Mark stuff.
Okay.
I didn't care for.
So in terms of we've talked about snacks, what we can change. Could we somehow limit the amount of even for not only for yourself but for your family or kids, the amount of sweets we have in the house? It's okay to have sweets in the house, but when you have
give
3
them
kids,
fruit. Give them fruit instead of cupcakes.
so it sounds like you know a little bit of what
Yeah,
to do, right?
yeah.
So, fruit that boosts antioxidants. It boosts.
They just snarl their nose up when I say, well, here, have this. So if you don't have the sweets in there, I've been told, then they're not tempted. So,
But that's true. But also giving them maybe a sweet alternative of fruit and maybe reintroduce them to new textures. And stuff. Okay. But it's okay to have sweets. I do want to reiterate that in moderation.
Right.
But if we're grabbing them every time we go in the kitchen, then we might need to pull back a little bit.
yeah.
Especially at the A1C down. Now, in terms of eating out like Tex-Mex dinner, I know you had to go to, like we do fried chicken and stuff at dinner. Is there like a baked chicken or grilled chicken option that we could do, or is that just from a restaurant?
That's from a restaurant, but that's all
Okay.
they have.
Okay.
It's like fried chicken.
So basically it's like KFC.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of. Yeah.
Okay. Or Popeyes.
And then the same thing is everywhere. It's like mashed potatoes, gravy, coleslaw.
Okay. So in terms of what we could eat, they have some vegetables that we could eat and maybe eat the protein later. Is that possible?
Maybe.
Or maybe peeling off the fried parts of the
Right.
chicken might be better.
And I was
patting the chicken to get the grease.
It's
a little
not
bit.
too greasy. It just seems like and I do pull off because sometimes if it sits under the lights, it gets really hard.
Okay.
So we take off. Sometimes have to take the breading off.
So it sounds like you are being health conscious in terms
A
of
little.
like this is a little, but I'm sure it's scary getting A1C back and like okay whatever.
It was.
So in terms of okay, so we got pulling off the chicken, the rest of the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Mexican food or Tex-Mex. What are some things you like?
Burritos with like black beans and tomato and Mexican rice.
Okay.
That's the kids' burrito.
That sounds perfectly fun.
It's just everybody likes cheese dip.
Okay, how much cheese dip or chips
Yeah, we
are we
always
getting
get a
into?
large with about 4 bags of chips.
Okay. Okay. That's one of our favorite things too. Let's see. Mm, okay, cheese dip.
Yeah, I can eat those chips.
So maybe we can limit the amount of chips we eat before our meal and eat our meal first.
Right.
And then if I may say if that's okay, and then eat the chips after we eat our
Yeah.
and see where we are in terms of our fullness.
Yeah, because I'm always full of all. I can eat that whole cheese dip and 2 bags of chips myself.
But you said you're always kind of full when you do that. Is that what you said?
Yeah, then I don't want to
Okay.
eat anything else.
But do you make yourself eat
Yeah.
that? Okay. So one thing we can do is look at that and eat the chips later, or we can eat just a little bit and limit ourselves and eat the main meal
Yeah.
first and prioritize that main meal.
Right. That's a good idea.
Because it sounded like that burrito, what you just described with the beans, the rice,
It had tomatoes and
have protein in it, like chicken.
chicken.
Beans are protein.
It did have grilled chicken, fajita chicken in it. But I always get a small one, a kid's meal. But they put a lot of chicken in there.
Now, I will say, on your breakfast, you mentioned a toast, banana, and cappuccino.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of carbohydrate, like a lot of sugar from that. Could you maybe throw in an egg white to get some healthier fat, some protein with that, just so because basically what happens without protein and fat is your glucose response, it goes up. In terms when we have that fat and that protein, it sort of blunts that glycemic response.
Yeah, it'd be quick. Even put a couple of boiled eggs at night, and then have the egg in the morning.
Oh, absolutely. So you're thinking ahead. Excellent. Definitely.
Then I wouldn't have to fix it that morning when I'm trying to fix everybody breakfast.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. All right. So it sounds like you have an idea of what you want to do. After talking, it sounds like we can do some alternate, pick some healthier options out, the places they want to eat.
Yeah.
Limit in terms of environmental modification, but basically means don't buy as many sweets, don't have them out in the open.
Right.
Even hiding them, like putting them someplace.
That's a good idea because usually we leave them on the cabinet.
And that makes it, that sweet tooth hits when we sit into that environmental cue.
Yeah.
So in terms of doing like peanut butter and celery, now peanut butter is high in calories and you do want to lose weight. So one thing we can also do is do like a peanut butter powder. It's a protein powder. It'll take the fat out, but you can mix it with water.
That's a good idea.
And depending on how much water you add, it'll add more protein. So it won't be as many calories. In terms of 190 calories for 2 tablespoons.
It's a good idea.
So what we can do with that. And then also you mentioned sweet tea. Do you think maybe we can do like an unsweet tea version and use some sugar substitutes, or maybe do that every once in a while?
We've been trying to cut out sweet tea.
Okay, excellent.
We only do that. We used to do it at home, but now when we go out to eat, every once in a while I'll do it, but we try not. I'll drink water.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd like for you to tell me 1 being not at all and 10 being absolutely 100% can do this. How do you feel about changing out your snacks when they eat sweet stuff?
I can do that.
Give me a number if you don't mind.
7.
7? Okay. So it sounds like you can do that pretty well. Is there a plan in place in case the sweet cravings hits when they get in those cookies or cupcakes?
Just get another pretzel and peanut butter.
Okay.
Celery and peanut butter.
Okay. Celery and peanut butter is a lower calorie option.
Yeah.
If you want to try that. And maybe sometimes even taking a bite or two without the peanut butter and just doing the celery sometimes and then getting the peanut butter. Just alternate a little bit.
And I like raw carrots and raw celery.
So we can do that too as well. Mm-hmm. So maybe have some vegetables and peanut butter in terms of replacing that with a snack. Some healthier options towards eating out. Tex-Mex, maybe watching your cheese dip and chip intake.
Yeah.
Watching what we drink, switching with the water, unsweet beverage. Maybe making sure the tortillas, if you do get anything, so flour tortillas or corn tortillas, increasing our whole grains and fiber intake. Do you know generally what good sources of fiber are?
No, not really.
Well, we mentioned that burrito. So beans, excellent source of fiber. And what we can do is increase our fiber intake, and that should help lower your A1C. This will help with that blunted glucose response, which should bring down your A1C over time. It also makes you feel fuller.
How long does it take to bring it down?
Usually we see an improvement over about 4 weeks. Sometimes sooner. It depends on how strict the
Right.
person can adhere to things.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're actually in a good place and you know what you've kind of seems like you've thought about this before.
I have, and it sort of went out the window
Okay.
multiple times.
What made it go out the window?
Well, just when the kids were in a hurry and we just start, grabbing things and
Well, you did mention boiling that egg the night before, so
Yeah.
it sounds like you already kind of have an idea of how to when kids don't wake up when they wake up late for school or when they're trying to
right.
the alarm doesn't go off.
Yeah.
So maybe you can just get those 1 or 2 eggs or some
Yeah.
things that are pre-prepared for
Yeah. Because we
breakfast.
put eggs in salad sometimes and we could fix them the night before.
Or like a breakfast egg sandwich, maybe with whole
That's a
grain
good
bread.
idea. Yeah.
And maybe some sugar-free jam or something, or English muffin. It's from a whole grain variety.
Yeah, that'd be good to try with kids and see.
And next time I would like to, after follow up, I would like to talk to you about your physical activity. But for right now, it seems like I would want to just focus on this dietary aspect. Now, it's always good to increase your physical activity through increased steps. Um, just make sure that you're parking a little bit further away.
Yeah.
I don't know how active you really are, but in terms of what you said, you don't really do a whole lot besides driving them to.
That's it. I mean, I don't have time to go to the gym or there's no, that's what we do.
So I would like to talk to you about that next time, but for this aspect of this session, maybe changing out the snacks, finding some healthier alternatives, and watching how much sweetened beverages we drink, and also that cappuccino, maybe putting it with a milk as well instead of coffee.
Yeah.
To help increase your protein and fat intake that way. That way we're not getting all the carbohydrates.
And on Friday night, I forgot we eat, it's like movie night. And
Okay.
we'll have like root beer and popcorn,
Okay. And you do that after a
buttered
meal.
popcorn.
Okay. So maybe
But we've tapered off that,
we tapered off of it?
trying to, yeah. We
How
don't
often
do
are
it.
we doing it a week?
Maybe twice a month.
Twice a month? Okay. I just keep that. Now, there are better beverages alternatives. If you
Right.
don't mind, there's something called a poppy soda. It's got like a root beer mimic flavor.
Oh, yeah, I was going to try that.
It's got prebiotics in it. They are a little bit more expensive. So that may be something we think about in the future. But if
That's a
you're just,
good idea.
now, as long as you're just drinking one root beer at night,
Hmm.
on that Friday every twice a month, that's probably not a big deal. But I'd like to see how we do with the environmental modification.
Well, and
Um,
we were doing it every Friday night.
Yeah.
And we
But
tapered off
reduced by
that.
50%.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have been tapering off and you've been doing really well with that.
Well.
It sounds like you are being more health conscious.
Yeah.
So
I need to be more, obviously, with the elevated A1C because I didn't know it was elevated.
And that's because that's what I'm here for, and that's what your doctor's there for as well. So that's what we'll get you checked up on. Make some modifications, and then recheck it in
Okay.
3 or 4 weeks. I think your insurance will only cover 4 weeks. I'd like to see you back 2 weeks, see how you're doing. But you can always tell my office and let me know how you're doing. I'd really like to appreciate that.
Okay.
But we'll see you back in 4 weeks. But before we set this appointment up, we're going over environmental modification, picking out healthier foods, limiting sugar the best we can, the added sugar,
Hmm.
and doing some healthier snacks.
Yeah, that's good.
So mainly I want you to focus on the healthier snack swaps
Okay.
instead of eating cakes and cookies when you walk in the kitchen.
Okay.
But we'll see you back in 4 weeks.
Okay.
And you said your assessment was a 7 in terms of you thought you could do this.
Yeah.
So I want you to keep note of any barriers or any issues you face, and we'll talk about that next time.
Okay.
We'll overcome them.
All right.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate your visit, but our time is up. Do you have any questions or anything?
No, but I appreciate the help.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you.